Okay, so this happened maybe a year ago, and it happened to kind of my entire family. I was 20 at the time, my sister was 17. So one night, we were all asleep, and my sister was on some serious medication, because she had double trouble sleeping because she had nightmares. It was storming out, and it doesn't usually do that here, so I was up with all the noises and thunder pacing my room. My home is 2 stories, and my sister got the only room on the first floor, because she wanted the bigger room with the French doors. There's 2 sets, one in her room and one in the living room, that led to the back. Anyways, so it's storming, and the wind is really strong, so I'm already on edge. All of a sudden there's a big thump from downstairs, like someone threw open the back doors, and the house alarm starts screaming. So my first reaction is to of course jump in my bed, and right as I do I hear my dad, a former Marine, jump out of bed, grab the pistol he and my mom keep under the mattress, heard my mother ask what's wrong, and heard him throw open his door. Let me explain the layout real quick. When you come up the staircase in my house, there's the bathroom right across from there, and the small hallway sort of goes in an L from there. At the beginning of the L is the bathroom. The corner is my brother's room, then my room. At the top of the L is my parents' room. He stared in my room, in his t-shirt and boxers. He military raid style kicks my door, clears the room, tosses me the extra 9mm he keeps in his closet and says to follow him. So he kicks open my brother's room and the bathroom and clears those rooms. Takes the stairs at least 3 at a time down to the first floor and whistles so I know I can come down. At this point, everything my dad has prepared us for safety-wise is kicking in with adrenaline. And it's hilarious to think about this part because I'm in an oversized t-shirt and panties. My dad is in his shirt and boxers with socks on. And the clearing of the house all happened within 2.5 minutes, I'd say. So he kicks open my sister's room and we see the back doors of her room are wide open and rain is pouring in. She very groggily sets up and asks if her soup is ready. My dad stays with her and I clear the kitchen and the living room, which is one open space. And the living room windows are bay style and face my backyard, and disarm the alarm when I hear my dad shouting, his pistol fire, in a voice that is very much not his, say crap. And then I see a tall flash of dark run across the backyard and throw itself over the back fence. I immediately call the police and they're there within minutes. Apparently when I left the room to clear the living room, my dad walked from the door to the foot of my sister's bed. She is a big wood frame that you really can't see the other side of unless you're standing where he was. And at the point, my dad saw the man lying flat on the floor of my sister's room, trying not to be seen by us. He left behind a big knife, like the kitchen knife type thing, and a rolled up string of rope. They never found the guy who broke in, and we reinforced the back doors and changed the locks, since they were from the original owner when we moved in, which we should have done in the first place. It was very scary, but now we look back and laugh, because my sister was so out of it. The guy ran off and my dad had ran after him across the yard, and by the time I got to my sister's room to check on her, she just looked at me, obviously still not awake, and said everything's fine, and tried to get back to sleep. This happened in 1979, when I was a 17-year-old girl. I was in London for summer school, and stayed with a family friend, Jane, in her apartment. One night I went to a party, and ended up staying really late. Being a poor student, I decided to bus home, and got off at the closest bus stop to the apartment, which was still a good 20 to 30 minute walk. By then it was after midnight, and the streets were completely empty. I walked down the street hearing nothing but the sound of my shoes clapping against the pavement. I noticed this guy come out of one of the houses up the street. He was walking towards me on the same side of the road. We passed by each other without incident. I continued walking down the dimly lit streets, turning my head to see behind me at one point, and saw the same guy. Only now he was walking behind me, keeping his distance. Not wanting to assume that he was following me or show any fear, I looked straight ahead and increased my walking speed a bit. After 10 long minutes of walking down several deserted blocks, I finally turned the dark corner into my street. There were still about 5 minutes left till I got home. I stole one more glance behind me. There he was, still keeping his distance. In that moment, it became quite clear to me that he was following me. A sense of dread spread through me on the dark, lonely street as I tried to remain calm and just get home as soon as possible. The apartment was part of a complex, and the front door was located at the back, so you had to go around to get to it. This meant that if I was fast enough, there was a good chance he wouldn't see which apartment was mine. I walked as fast as I could without running, and finally reached the front door. No sight of him. Good. With the key in my badly shaking hand, I fumbled at the doorknob, terrified, praying to get it open before he finds me, and I've never seen or heard from again. My prayers were answered, and I finally managed to unlock it. I hurried inside and locked the door. Safe, and able to breathe again, I went upstairs to my bedroom. Then I made a mistake. My bedroom faced the street, and when I entered, I turned on the light. The curtains weren't drawn, and I saw him standing there looking straight up at me. Next thing you know, he's ringing the doorbell. Panicking, I ran downstairs into Jane's room, who was woken up by the doorbell. I explained the situation to her and asked her not to open the door. She said she had to because she didn't want to wake up the neighbors. I watched her go, staying in her bedroom. He asked,
"Is Mary there?"
He must have decided to pretend to ask for someone when he realized I wasn't there alone. She responded, "There's no one here called Mary." He apologized and then left. I breathed a sigh of relief and watched him through the window as he left. As he was walking, he turned around, and I had the unfortunate opportunity to meet his eyes once more. He scowled at me through the glass. I shuddered. The next day, Jane told me about all the dodgy things and crimes that happened in that area. It turns out it wasn't a particularly safe area. After that, I only ever went out during the day. I thankfully never saw that guy again, but sometimes I wonder what could have happened if Jane wasn't there that night.